Hello, welcome to the Pravachana Malika talk number 44. Good morning to everybody in the US. Good evening to everybody in India. We're so excited today. Our keynote talk is on Vedic mathematics and philosophy signified. Our featured speaker is Yogesh Raghunathan, who's a math and chess coach in Columbia, Missouri. So today we'll do the Veda Kusumanjali, followed by Sangeetanjali, and then my father, Dr. Prabhakar, will introduce the speaker and we'll have some concluding remarks. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यसेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इंद्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदुच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So I'll play the Sangeetanjali now.
Namaskara everyone.
Namaste,
Namaste, madam.
Very nice.
Namaste Stu Mahamaye Shri Pide Sudapujite Shankha Chakra Gadaste
ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನಿ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ
ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನಿ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನಿ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನಿ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯ ನಿಕ್ಕುತ ಗೆಜ್ಜ ಕಾಲ್ಗಳ ಧ್ವನಿಯ ಮಾಡುತ್ತ ಸಜ್ಜನ ಸಾಧು ಪೂಜೆಯ ವೇಳೆಗೆ ಮಜ್ಜಿಗೆಯೊಳಗಿನ ಬೆಣ್ಣಯದೆ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ.
ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯ ನಿಕ್ಕುತ ಗೆಜ್ಜ ಕಾಲ್ಗಳ ಧ್ವನಿಯ ಮಾಡುತ್ತ ಸಜ್ಜನ ಸಾಧು ಪೂಜೆಯ ವೇಳೆಗೆ ಮಜ್ಜಿಗೆಯೊಳಗಿನ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆಯಂತೆ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ.
ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನಿ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಕನಕ ವೃಷ್ಟಿಯ ಕರೆಯುದ ಬಾರೆ ಮನಕ ಮನಯ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಯ ತೋರೆ
ಕನಕ ವೃಷ್ಟಿಯ ಕರೆಯುತ ಬಾರೆ ಮನಕ ಮನಯ
ಜನಕರ ಕೋಡಿ ತೇಜದಿ ಹೊಳೆವ ಜನಕರಾಯನ ಕುಮಾರಿ ಬೇಗ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ.
ದಿನಕರ ಕೋಟಿ ತೇಜದಿ ಹೊಳೆವ ಜನಕರಾಯನ ಕುಮಾರಿ ಬೇಗ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ.
ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನಿ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ.
ಅತ್ತಿತ್ತಗಳದೆ ಭಕ್ತರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯ ಮಹೋತ್ಸವ ನಿತ್ಯ ಸುಮಂಗಳ ಸತ್ಯವ ತೋರುವ ಸಾಧು ಸಜ್ಜನರ ಚಿತ್ತದೆ ಹೊಳೆವ ಪುತ್ಥಳಿ ಬೊಂಬೆ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ.
ಅತ್ತಿತ್ತಗಳದೆ ಭಕ್ತರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯ ಮಹೋತ್ಸವ ನಿತ್ಯ ಸುಮಂಗಳ ಸತ್ಯವ ತೋರುವ ಸಾಧು ಸಜ್ಜನರ ಚಿತ್ತದಿ ಹೊಳೆವ ಪುತ್ಥಳಿ ಬೊಂಬೆ
ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನೇ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಇಲ್ಲದ ಭಾಗ್ಯವ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಕಂಕಣ ಕೈಯ ತಿರುವುದ ಬಾರಿ. ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಇಲ್ಲದ ಭಾಗ್ಯವ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಕಂಕಣ ಕೈಯ ತಿರುವುದ ಬಾರಿ.
ಕುಂಕುಮಾಗಿದ ಪಂಕಜಲೋಚನ ವೆಂಕಟರಮಣನ ಬಿಂಗದ ರಾಣಿ
ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನೆ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ತುಪ್ಪದ ಕಾಲುವೆ ಹರಿಸಿ ಶುಕ್ರವಾರದ ಪೂಜೆಯ ವೇಳೆಗೆ ಅಕ್ಕರೆಯುಳ್ಳ ಎಳಗಿರಿ ರಂಗಣ ಚೊಕ್ಕ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ರಾಣಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ.
ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ತುಪ್ಪದ ಕಾಲುವೆ ಹರಿಸಿ ಶುಕ್ರವಾರದ ಪೂಜೆಯ ವೇಳೆಗೆ ಅಕ್ಕರೆಯುಳ್ಳ ಅಳಗಿರಿ ರಂಗಣ ಚೊಕ್ಕ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ರಾಣಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನಿ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ನಮ್ಮಮ್ಮನಿ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ. ನಮಸ್ತೆ ತು ಮಹಾಮಾಯೆ ಶ್ರೀಪೀಠೆ ಸುರಪೂಜಿತೆ ಶಂಖಚಕ್ರ ಗದಾಹಸ್ತೆ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ. ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಗರುಡಾರೂಢೆ ಕೋಲಾಸುರ ಭಯಂಕರಿ ಸರ್ವಪಾಪಹರೆ ದೇವಿ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ. ಸರ್ವಜ್ಞೆ ಸರ್ವವರದೆ ಸರ್ವದುಷ್ಟ ಭಯಂಕರಿ ಸರ್ವದುಃಖ ಹರೆ ದೇವಿ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ. ಸಿದ್ಧಿಮುಕ್ತಿ ಪ್ರದೇ ದೇವಿ ಮುಕ್ತಿ ಪ್ರದಾಯಿನಿ ಮಂತ್ರಮೂರ್ತೆ ಸದಾ ದೇವಿ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ. ಆದ್ಯಂತರ ಹಿತೆ ದೇವಿ ಆದಿಶಕ್ತಿ ಮಹೇಶ್ವರಿ ಯೋಗ ಸಂಭೂತೆ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ. ಸ್ಥೂಲ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಮಹಾರೌದ್ರೆ ಮಹಾಶಕ್ತಿ ಮಹೋದರೆ ಮಹಾಪಾಪ ಹರೆ ದೇವಿ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ. ಪದ್ಮಾಸನ ಸ್ಥಿತೆ ದೇವಿ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸ್ವರೂಪಿಣಿ ಪರಮೇಶಿ ಜಗನ್ಮಾತಾ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ. ಶ್ವೇತಾಂಬರಧರೆ ದೇವಿ ನಾನಾಲಂಕಾರ ಭೂಷಿತೆ ಜಗಸ್ಥಿತೆ ಜಗನ್ಮಾತಾ ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ. ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ. ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ. ಮಹಾಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ನಮೋಸ್ತುತೆ.
Yeah, that was really good. Nana, thank you. If you want to please give an overview who the dancer was, and also if you can.
Meena, she's Meena, a dance teacher in Chicago. She has got the Abhinaya School of Dance and she's trained large number of people. And so very introduced her. So I asked her to give a dance performance and she chose this Bhagyada Lakshmi Baramma along with her students. So made a wonderful representation from Chicago. Thank you very much to Meena.
Thank you very much.
Also.
Thank you, Meena. It was very, very exciting. So happy to see the dance.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. So Nana, you want to please introduce Yogesh for the topic today?
Yeah, today Welcome to Sri Yogesh Raghunathan, who is a great guide, mathematician, and also a coach to students, especially younger students who want to compete in the chess and mathematics and all those things. And she says something like a freelance mathematician, not attached to anyone, but attached to himself. And he has coached my grandchildren also. It is Anjaneya Prasad children, Anish and Ayush. So Anish participated and also got some prizes in the chess programs and all those things. And when I was there with Dr. Prasad, and I got introduced to Yogesh Raghunathan and found him. But today his look is different. What look I had was different. Very good. And so mathematics is a universal language, and it is a language of the universe. And so everything begins with mathematics. Ganita Shastram, it is called. And also, all those who are students of that are called Ganita Shastri Brahmacharis. So our Yogesh is a Ganita Shastra Brahmachari. And we have also Dr. Gayatri, though she is a Sanskrit scholar, but still she is also a Ganita Shastra Brahmacharini student. And going up to that, there is no limit to mathematics. So Vedic mathematics means Gnana Ganita Shastram. That is, Gnanam is very important. We are going to get the knowledge, and mathematics is the Vignanam. So Vedic mathematics will be Gnana Vignana Samyuktam, knowledge. So that's exactly what Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita pitches upon to Arjuna. It's a very secret knowledge. I am going to introduce to you because you are the best students. So like that, we are all best students who have joined here and will be also joined, because mathematics, nobody escape. Even in Vedic math, we call it mathematics because in Veda, at the conclusion of anything, they will try to club things in numbers. Eka chame, tisras chame, pancha chame, sapta chame, navachama. Like that, it goes on. And again, with the geometrical progression. Again, with common difference 4. Then we have got Chatvarigum Sanchame, Chatuschatvarigum Saschame, Ashta Chatvarigum Saschame, Vachascha Prasavascha. So Vaja, Prasava, etc. We cannot completely exhaust our wants. Our wants are constantly coming as because we are breathing constantly. So thought and breathing, pranas, both are related. If you stop breathing, then thoughts also stop. Your mind becomes stable. So the mathematics, again, we have got also the arithmetical progression in Veda. Prathama, in Vahanyasam, we get the idea. Prathama, Dvitiyeshu Strayadvam, Dvitiya, Strutiyeshu Strayadvam, Trayastrimsat, it goes up to 33. So looking at this kind of counting, you can imagine all rishis are countable and they are experts in counting. And I don't know much about mathematics, but we have been doing, so people take some degrees in mathematics and higher degrees and all that. So mathematicians are basically, I think, they are philosophers. India is known for 2 subjects, mathematics and philosophy. So wherever Indian brain goes, the mathematics and philosophy is being sparked. And people outside India, for example, one of our colleagues and friend in Bangalore, in Central College, mathematics professor, when he went to Russia, and he gave a talk on mathematics, and she is a good expert in Varaha Mihira, mathematician and all that. So he, after lecture, some Russian lady came and asked some questions in philosophy with Shankar and all that. Then he said, I'm sorry, I have not studied. What? You claim Indian? You don't know philosophy? And you can't answer my simple questions? So like that, she exclaimed, and that he expressed in one of his meetings at the Mythic Society, Bangalore, long back. So to say that mathematics and philosophy go together. Because in philosophy, we grow higher. We have no ego at all in philosophy. trying to search a black cat in darkness is the search in mathematics, in philosophy. So somehow, I don't know, I took a degree in mathematics, BSc honors with mathematics main. Now my head is clean slate, but still, and because our avocations are different. But unfortunately, our Gayatri here, she has kept that mathematics in her head, although she has taken her degrees in in Sanskrit and all that. She can, and she's doing DLIT also in that. And we have got also here, and Hema Srinivasan, she's a professor of mathematics, seasoned professor of mathematics in university, trained a large number of students. So we have got a wonderful panel of mathematicians. and but we have all, and moreover, as we see in algebra, we always solve problems with A, B, C, D, E, F, P, Q, R, A, B. That means we have nobody. We may introduce A, what is A, what is B, what is C. You can say brinjal or anything. You can substitute. So like even for some C and all that. So that way, mathematicians are impartial, non-egoistic, and universal people. So congratulate all of such mathematicians, including Anjaneya Prasad. Computer science also is mathematics. My daughter told me, I want computer science because there is mathematics in that. So without mathematics, nobody can do anything at all. It's everywhere there, and mathematical brain is not ordinary. It's a divine gift. So all people are not good at mathematics. They go for tuition temporarily, get marks, and be done with that. Like me, because my head is. So anyway, but complications and you are in fact, and moreover, see, sometime in long back, Bharati Krishna Tirtha has found out, got revealed 16 plus 13 sutras, and through which we are able to solve many difficult problems. Shortcut. See, if ordinarily we take 20 steps through with Krishna Tirtha, we do it with 4 or 5 or 5, 6. Say the answer is QAD. That's just solved. You get the answer. QAD, we used to write at the end of it. So this way, the mathematics is a life science, is a accompaniment for all of us. So that way, today we have got a good professional freelance mathematician and who is training young children in Colombia and outside. And his wife is already introduced to us, Kiruba, and she is a food engineer. So she's also engineer, counting on the food quantities, food in the railway stations, food in the aeroplane, food in the all these things. So I have given her also some homework to prepare how the food is being preserved, that it can be served any and everywhere. Now, no matter the location, but the food must be quite nutritious, substantial, and filling. So that's why. So the food engineer and mathematician both are a good combination, making good couple. Congratulations, Ashirvadam. So I'm not much talking. I just request the mathematician, freelance mathematician, to just present to us his presentation. Thank you very much to everybody whoever joined. All are mathematic people only, and we welcome them.
Yeah, please, Yogesh, you can share your screen. We're able to start your talk.
Screen sharing. Video ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, mute ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಈಗ. ಕೂತ್ಕೋತೀರಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. Hello, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. Yes.
Yes, we
Hi.
can. Yep.
Thank you for that great introduction. It's actually difficult for me to speak in front of you because there are so far greater, far more accomplished mathematicians here that I'm not going to contribute anything new in mathematics to. And of course, there are far wiser people than I am, so I doubt that I'm going to say anything new in philosophy either. But I hope that my personal intersection of these two subjects might be interesting. So that's really what I chose to focus on today. The intersection of mathematics and philosophies, especially in the Vedas. I think we can start by asking the question, what is mathematics? I think Uncle started us off in a great direction there. He gave us a great answer. We know that mathematics has a reach that is very extensive in every field that we have that we study. Mathematics has its footprints. I've had many great discussions about how mathematics is vital in music theory, even in Vedic literature, how it plays a role in dance, how it plays a role in yoga, astronomy, and maybe most important in engineering, in creating the altars and other structures, temples and things that were built. But even more important, as Uncle said, a lot of it is about not just doing math, but doing it rapidly and accurately. It's understandable why, because if you think back in a time where pen and paper is a luxury, and where we don't have computers and calculators, it's really important to be able to do math very quickly and accurately in your head, right, and mentally. Even in something like business, when you're purchasing vegetables or whatever you need to buy. So we know that mathematics has this tremendous reach in almost every field, but to be a little bit more abstract, what is mathematics? I think Uncle said it's the language of science, which I think is a great starting point. Science, of course, is mostly pattern recognition, right? We have these data that we gain through our senses, and based on these data, we can create these formulas based on the patterns that we notice, like F equals ma or E equals mc squared, and these formulas allow us to predict future data and that we can verify. So mathematics is certainly the language of science, but to go a little bit deeper than that, what is it? What is the language? So ultimately, the answer that I came up with is, like all language, mathematics is about relationships. It's how we connect one data point to another data point in any field. And of course, the rules and the formulas that we derive from mathematics is the rules that our brain itself, that our logic itself is based upon. But the interesting thing about mathematics is that while so much of our reality is based on mathematics, we don't find mathematics in our world, right? So the Greek philosopher Plato said that math exists in a different universe, right? In a world where perfect things exist. For example, in our world, we encounter many circles, but it is impossible for us to find a perfect circle, because we know that the ratio of the circumference to the diameter of a circle is going to be pi, and pi is an irrational number. So we can measure to whatever accuracy that we can, but we will eventually reach a limit beyond which we cannot go. So a perfect circle cannot possibly exist because it's an infinite irrational number that extends forever. Or even a square, right? A perfect square, you would think that, okay, well, it's just one meter by 1 meter. Why can't we make a perfect square? Well, the diagonal of the square would be square root of 2, which is, again, an irrational number that is limited by how accurate we can measure it, but we can never achieve that perfection. So while math seems to describe accurately so many things in our world, it also doesn't seem to exist in our world. This infinity doesn't just apply to irrational numbers, although the Greeks, they were so bothered by the existence of these irrational numbers, they actually tried to hide it from the people because it contradicted it challenged the notion that math is simple and math is beautiful and divine. But I think that the fact that math is complex enough to incorporate infinity makes it even more beautiful, even though that view wasn't shared by Plato. So let's look at how infinity can be a part of even integers and whole numbers that we deal with. So one thing that I think mathematicians take for granted is the idea that 0.9 repeating infinitely is the same as the number 1. I think that a lot of students, when they first learn this, they're at least I was a little bit skeptical because it doesn't seem like these two things should be equal. Why should we? I mean, there must be some small difference, right? Some infinitely small difference between this 1 and this 0.9 repeating. How could they be the same thing? But if we think about it, the fraction 1/3 is 0.3 repeating infinitely. And we know that 3 times a third gives us 1. So 3 times 0.3 repeating infinitely gives us 0.9 repeating infinitely. So mathematics tells us that these are in fact the same exact number. There is no difference between these two. And that is very counterintuitive to our experience of reality, because we like to think that reality is finite and concrete, and it hasn't beginning and hasn't end. But in mathematics, even integers can be represented in a form that is infinite, that is without an end. How does this connect with the Vedas? The word ananta it means without end. I guess I think the word anta means the end, and ananta is without end. And this is a very important word. It's used to describe, Brahma. It's used to describe Lord Vishnu, and I think it's very revealing that such advanced concept like infinity was already such a crucial part of Vedic understanding. Along with infinity, of course, we have 0. But I think 0 can be understood in a very simplistic manner, which is nothing. But I think that is almost too simplistic. If we look at the concept of sunya in the Vedas, while nothingness is a part of that word, it also encompasses the potential for everything. It's really an amazing concept. And it's a concept that I think in the Western world, we really didn't have anything equal to it until like relativity and advanced physics, because only in our modern quantum-based understanding do we really understand that nothing is not really nothing. That even the vacuum of space is filled with activity, that even though it cancels out to nothing, it actually is not nothing. And to have this concept in Vedic literature already shows that how advanced the Indian philosophy was. In fact, sunya is the Lord Brahma is said to be born from sunya, and the whole universe with all of its infinite potential is not only born from sunya, but will also return to sunya. And already, I mean, I don't think I need to mention the parallels to the Big Bang Theory of you having a singularity, which is, of course, a point with no dimensions, which is in all intents and purposes a zero, that from which the universe is born and from which the universe will return to. And this connection between zero and infinity, I think, is very revealing, not only as to how advanced the philosophic thoughts were, but also how mathematics played such an important role in our understanding of the universe. Okay. And I think that the concept of everything arising from zero, what does that have to do with math? We all know that, in Euclid's geometry, there are certain axioms that are accepted. And upon these axioms is how we build our field of geometry. And these axioms have to be accepted as inherently true, because if they are not, then it is not possible for us to have mathematics, or at least Euclidean geometry. So, but these axioms also do not really make sense from our experience in life. So, for example, a line is defined as consisting of points, but each point is defined to have no dimension. So we have a line that's made of points, but has no length, has no dimension of length. So how can something with no dimension of length, a zero, create an infinite line, infinite length? And again, same with a plane, right? A line is, by definition, has no dimension of width, and yet a series of lines together is defined to form a plane. Again, we have infinity arising out of nothingness. So this is a pattern that repeats quite often. And it is a pattern that bothered even the ancient Greek mathematicians. And for example, there's a great debate between two Greek philosophers. One was Parmenides, who claimed that the universe is one, and the universe is unchanging, and it's eternal. And his great contemporary, Heraclitus, who claimed that the universe is always changing. It is like fire. It is never the same, from one second to another. He says, you'll never step in the same river twice, meaning that, what you can step in one river once, but by the time your second foot goes to the river, already the river has changed. So there's this two fascinating views of the universe. And this was really, and both of them made such great logical arguments that it was very hard to decide one way or another. One of the interesting things that come out of this, especially in mathematics, is a series of paradoxes that the philosopher Zeno introduced. One of my favorites is the one of a race between Achilles and the tortoise. So the idea is the tortoise, Achilles is known for his speed. He's a very fast runner, and the tortoise is very slow. So Achilles said, I will give this tortoise a head start of, let's say, 100 meters, and I will easily beat it in a race. But once the race begins, Achilles has to first reach where the tortoise was, the 100 meters the head start that it had started. So Achilles runs 100 meters to where the tortoise was. But by the time he got there, the tortoise had moved forward a little bit. So again, Achilles said, okay, now I have to catch up to the tortoise again. So he ran as fast as he could. But by the time he got to where the tortoise was, again, the tortoise has moved forward some distance. Now, this distance is getting smaller and smaller, of course, but it is always going to be positive, and it's always going to be a number. So it's always going to be a real distance that has to be passed. So Zeno concludes that Achilles will never catch the tortoise because he has an infinite number of distances that he has to catch up to the tortoise So he'll never has a chance to pass the tortoise. Of course, we know in reality, this is not the case. We know that if there is a race between Achilles and the tortoise, he's going to pass the tortoise very quickly. So how do we explain this seeming paradox? In mathematics, we have this this idea called convergent series, right? So we can say, hey, yes, there's an infinite sum that we need to add together, but these infinite sums converge into a finite number. And while that explanation makes sense mathematically, it is still very contrary to our experience, right? Because our experience is in a finite world, and it's very difficult to understand how something that is infinite can add up to something that is finite. So again, Zeno, of course, used this argument to support Parmenides' idea that, in fact, there cannot be any motion. Motion is impossible. And if motion is impossible, then the universe cannot change. The universe must be one. What I find interesting in my study of the Vedas is that the concepts of Sunya and Ananta are much more subtle. They're much more forgiving to paradoxes like this because, again, understanding that something can be both zero and infinite. So can something be finite and infinite at the same time is a much more sophisticated understanding of reality than one has to be one or the other. So another fascinating philosophical debate happened when the Scottish philosopher David Hume proclaimed that science is all empirically determined. Therefore, there's no that we can never prove causality. So, for example, we can say that I can observe A and I can observe B, but I can never show that A causes B. And the reason he says this is because of our limitations as human beings. Like, we can see that the sun rises every day, right? And even though without fail the sun rises every day, we can say, yes, the sun will rise again tomorrow. And we can create our theories of gravity, our theories of space and time and mass and all these concepts, but we can never actually prove that those are real, because all we know, all of our science really comes from I saw A and then I saw B. That's what we do. It's our senses. That's all our senses are capable of perceiving. We can never see causation. We can never see A causing B. We can only see that B always follows A, and therefore that's the limit of what we can prove. Now this extends even to mathematics because, again, we know that mathematics has a lot of axioms that we must accept in order for it to function. And again, likewise, something as simple as 1 + 1 is 2 is something that we take for granted, but it is not something that can be proven. David Hume, in fact, said that the only reason why we say 1 + 1 is 2 is because every time we have put 1 and 1 together, we've gotten 2. But that's not proof that 1 and 1 must be 2. It's just that it has always been 2, and perhaps tomorrow it may not be 2. We don't know, right? And this is such a profound challenge to our understanding of mathematics that this created a very big problem in Western philosophy. A problem that Immanuel Kant, after almost 10 years of thought, attempted to solve in his work, The Critique of Pure Reason. Now, his solution, I find, is very fascinating because I feel like it has a lot of Vedic thought in it. And the reason why I say that is because Kant's solution is that what if space and time are not external realities? They're not things that exist, but rather the framework that our mind functions in, the framework that our consciousness functions in. So so that what if the universe doesn't have space and time, but the only way for our human mind to comprehend the universe is to divide it into space and divide it into time, because that is a limitation of our consciousness. And this is really revolutionary because, again, this kind of seems to resolve the Heraclitus Parmenides dilemma, right? Because if the universe is one, but our mind is what breaks it up into little pieces, then that would answer why both the universe can be at the same time both infinite and finite at the same time. And what I find, the connection that I find with the Vedas is that the concept of Akasha, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but Akasha is this concept of space, the capacity to contain things. But the remarkable thing about this word is it wasn't just used to talk about space in the out in the world, but also space inside of our consciousness, the capacity of our consciousness to retain thought. And this is really the first instance of connecting space as a dimension to the concept of space as consciousness, as a dimension of our consciousness. And this is really, thousands of years ahead of Kant, and really a really remarkable concept. And of course, to even extend it further, they refer to Kala as what we call time, as the movement of Akasha. So it's real. So they are able to envision space and time in one single framework, something that wasn't accomplished in the West until Einstein's space-time theories of relativity, that created this concept of space-time. So really, again, while I don't want to say that they're exactly the same thing, but the parallels are strong, and the parallels are very obvious in how understanding Kala as a movement of Akasha is really the same thing as having an idea of space-time as a single entity. Okay, so I know we talked a lot about philosophy, but I think we should first start with the question, what is philosophy? I mean, we answered the question, what is mathematics? At least we tried to the best of my ability. And I'm sure that there'll be many, many more interesting contributions from the people here. But the other question that I struggled with is, what is philosophy, right? And the word philosophy itself comes from the Greek word philos, which is love, and then Sophia, which means wisdom. So it is the love of wisdom, or the pursuit of wisdom. But what does that mean? Like, what is wisdom, and how is that different from knowledge, right? That is the question that we have. Because if science gives us knowledge, and that then wisdom must be something that is different, something that is qualitatively different from knowledge. And we can understand why, because science is empirical in nature, meaning that it is based on observations, it's based on data, senses, information that we get through our senses, but we don't have something like that for philosophy. Like, when we talk about what is good, when we talk about what is wise, it is not based on empirical data that we can quickly find patterns and build theories and we can test them. It doesn't work like that. And yet it is every bit as important to our lives. So I want to explore a little bit more about what does the Western understanding of philosophy is, and what does the Vedas say about wisdom. So in the ancient Apollo temple in Delphi, so even before Socrates, the words that were inscribed there is know thyself, know thyself. And this is the birth of philosophy, at least in Western thought. In fact, when Socrates became considered the wisest man of his time, he often said, listen, I know that I'm not wise because I don't have any wisdom, but I know that I don't know anything. And that makes me wiser than others who pretend that they know something when they actually don't. I hope I didn't butcher that, but again, wisdom is knowing what you know and knowing what you don't know. So just understanding what you don't know made Socrates wiser than many others who also didn't know, but they thought that they knew, and they pretended that they knew. So this is how Western world defines philosophy. And so I searched among the Vedas to what they have to say about wisdom, and I was very surprised to find very, very similar thoughts being expressed. The simplest one is, of course, this. I'm sure that I'm saying it wrong, but I am Atma Brahma. It's Brahman. The truth, the Brahman is truth, and the self is the truth. And knowing ourself is always the pathway to wisdom. So that leads to the question, why pursue wisdom? Like, okay, so we can define philosophy as the pursuit of wisdom, but why do we do that? Why is that necessary to do that? What do we get out of it, right? That's the most logical question. And I think the question itself indicates the nature of some of the problems that we have, because the question itself is rational in nature, because our brain wants to know, hey, why should I dedicate my time? What am I going to get out of it? And it wants to visualize something in the future, some sort of enlightenment where you have this happiness, or you have accomplished something, and it wants to attach itself to that enlightened state. But it's actually that rationality that causes the problems, much of the suffering that we have, right? Because rationality is a tool that we use, that we have evolved to help us recognize patterns and to accomplish our goals that we set based on our ability to predict by recognizing these patterns. And when we apply that same thing to existing, it doesn't work, right? We have so much anxiety in our life these days because we want to know, hey, what should I be doing? What should I be pursuing? Should I be pursuing wealth? Should I be pursuing fame? Should I be pursuing a power? Should I be pursuing respect? And we want to know, how do I define success so that I can come up with a plan and I can go after it? But that very thought process causes a great deal of anxiety, because whatever it is that you settle on, whatever it is that you decide, and you say, okay, this is what is going to bring me happiness, that thing becomes a source of unhappiness, because now you have this thing and you want to protect it. But also there's no limit, right? Because as soon as you have enough, like let's say that you're pursuing money, once you achieve a certain amount, it's not like we've achieved satisfaction. We want more. We become used to that level of wealth, and then we want some more. And then once we achieve that, we become used to it. We want some more. So like the things that mattered, that made us happy earlier, no longer make us happy. So it doesn't seem to work, right? There in the history of humanity, many people have achieved various levels of wealth, various levels of fame, various levels of respect, but it has never equated to happiness. Because the way that rationality works is it's always thinking about the future. Once you accomplish something, it says, what is next? What do I need to do to get next? But existence is about now. Existence is about this moment. It's not about the future. So what does wisdom say about existing? So again, let's look at this quote here from the Bhagavad Gita. So this is Lord Krishna, I think, speaking to Arjuna. I'm not going to read the Sanskrit here, but the translation is: the person who gives up all material desires and lives free from a sense of greed, proprietorship, and egoism attains perfect peace. So again, we can substitute this word peace with nirvana or enlightenment or whatever word that we want to use. But it is very interesting that this is the goal of wisdom, right? So this, if we see that if this is the ultimate goal, then philosophy would be how do we bring this about in our own lives? How can we bring this about, this perfect peace in our own life? Okay, so as a fun exercise to bring mathematics back into it, I thought, why don't we try to come up with a formula, right? Like, why don't we try to come up with a formula that will help us better understand the relationship between these concepts? And so so let's say that our happiness is just the word that I chose. I mean, you can call it peace, you can call it inner peace, enlightenment, whatever. I didn't want to use the words P or E because I used them again. So I chose happiness. So let's say H, that's our goal. And if it's attached to what we pursue, right? So all the different things that we pursue. Now, I kind of put them all into the same category, but this word possession is not just about material possessions. It could be about, it could be about your pursuit of knowledge. It could be about your respect or fame or any of these concepts. But whatever it is, it's an accumulation that you value, that you think will bring you happiness. So if that is if that's what we start with, of course we have to subtract the worries, the fears that comes with it, right? For example, if you live in a mud hut, you don't have to worry about getting a security system for your house. But if you live in a mansion, of course you want to make sure that you have the latest security system, that you live in a good neighborhood and all of that, right? Because when you have something of value, you have worry that comes with it. When you have something that you desire, there's fear, the fear of loss, fear of losing it. So then we have to start with these possessions, but we have to subtract from it the worries that it comes with it. But that's not all, right? And as we mentioned before, the same possessions does not bring us the same happiness. For example, if you are poor, $1,000 might be life-changing. It might literally mean the difference between life and death. But if you are a millionaire, then $1,000 is something that you're not even going to notice, right? It's not even registering. So the amount of possessions that you have is going to, the greater the amount of possessions is, the less the happiness that we gain from it. So how do we represent that mathematically? Well, that's an inverse relationship. So we can divide that by, so I choose the word ego here because that's really what it is. The reason why we have less pleasure or less happiness from the same possession is because we become used to it, right? We become used to it. We take it for granted. Our expectations have changed. So what was our expectations when we were poor is very different from what our expectations are when we're rich, and when we're a millionaire, and when we're a billionaire, and so on. So if we have this equation, if your happiness is your possessions, and you take away their worries, and you divide it by your ego, this gives us a really good idea to see, is it worth it to pursue these material things? Like Lord Krishna says, is it worth it to be greedy and pursue material wealth? Well, the greater your possessions go, the greater your worries go. So already we're not off to a good start. But then our ego, again, as we mentioned, is also a function of the amount of possessions you have. So the more possessions you have, the bigger your ego is. So the bigger the denominator becomes, the smaller the overall value becomes. Again, so you can see that this number, by increasing whatever it is that you choose to accumulate, is not going to give you a big number for happiness. But what if, so if we go back here, what if we have this living free from greed, living free from ego, right? So what does that mean? So that means that to live without the ego. So let's look at the same equation and let's consider, so what happens if this ego approaches zero, right? So now we have this, so now it doesn't matter what your possessions are, right? So As long as you have the bare minimum to survive, of course, that is necessary. We cannot ignore that. Because if this was a negative number, we're not going to be good. It's not going to be good. Or if this was 0, it's not going to be good. But assuming that you have the bare minimum, some positive number here, as long as your ego is going to 0, this happiness is going to infinity. Right? So now we see that the real progress can be made. If this is the equation for happiness, we can see that real progress can be made not by the pursuit of any kind of accumulation, not just of material wealth, but of knowledge or of respect or fame or any of these things, but rather by understanding our ego and the diminishing our ego. That's going to lead to maximizing our happiness. So again, 1/0 mathematicians would say, of course, technically it's not infinity, it is irrational, but I think that's even more symbolic, even more poetic of what we're trying to reach, because I think philosophy is the opposite of rationality. It is, in fact, maybe the word opposite is harsh. It is the complement to rationality. And I think the best quote that I've found in the Vedas about the place of ego and the place of rationality and the place of awareness is this one. Again, it's from the Upanishads. And the quote, I'm just going to read the English translation, is, 2 birds sit on a tree. One eats the fruit, the individual self, and the other watches. That's our universal self. Okay, and I think that obviously the bird that is eating the fruit, that represents our ego. Why does that represent our ego? Well, because we live. The fruit represents the pleasure that we feel when we eat, and the pain that we feel when we're hungry. Right, the fruits represent our senses and our rationality, and our ability to recognize the patterns, set goals, all the things, the wonderful things that we've accomplished due to our rationality, whether it's being able to perform brain surgery or creating artificial intelligence or going to the moon, all these amazing things that we create through our rationality, but it serves the purpose. It has the purpose of the individual self. So anything that has to do with goals, setting goals for your individual self, that's the bird, that's the rationality. But the neglected part is philosophy, is the other bird, right? The bird that teaches us about ourselves, the bird that watches ourselves, that watches how our rationality functions, watches how the desires and fears that we have, how that causes action. Because when we act from our fears and desires, those are not free actions. We're not truly free. We're just responding to programming that rationality has done to protect ourselves, right? But this awareness, the self-awareness, when we understand the true nature of rationality and the impact that fears and desires have on our actions and our emotional state, then that allows us to choose with true freedom. And that is really what philosophy is, and that's really what wisdom is. And all of the Vedas, the yoga that we practice, is all that journey of self-awareness. Is as we practice it, it is supposed to help us look at ourselves and learn from ourselves, and thus accomplish self-realization, which again, as the Greeks said, is know thyself. And that is how I understand the definition of philosophy. And to me, there is no difference between philosophy, which is the pursuit of wisdom, and yoga, which is the pursuit of self-awareness. So I don't know if I talked for too long, but that's all I have. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and I hope I can hear more from the far superior mathematicians and philosophers that we have listening here. So please, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Yogesh. That was an excellent talk. I really enjoyed it. You made it very entertaining, but also very, very informative. And I feel you really achieved connecting mathematics and philosophy. And you did justice to both, which is very difficult to do. I think you treated them almost equally, and you brought them and kind of connected it just like you did zero to infinity. Also, you connected from sort of Greek and also like modern science, and your happiness equation kind of having us go from again zero in pursuit of happiness to infinity. So very interesting concepts. So I really thank you for such a great talk, and it's very well researched. And yes, we'll go more. But just one question: is the equation of happiness something you came up with? Did you see it somewhere?
Oh yeah, I just made it up. I tried to see from our experience what is it that we do, and I just put some variables to it. That's all.
We should then call it the Yogesh equation of happiness.
Again, if I've learned anything from this, is that I am happy.
It's counterintuitive to the ego and the denominator, but at least I want to give you the credit for that. Okay, but that's an excellent equation. Thank you. So yeah, no, you want to give some remarks, and then we can have Hema ji and Gayatri ji also talk. Yeah. Nana, you're muted.
It's a beautiful representation, a difficult subject from which all people are afraid, the mathematics. The very word mathematics makes people get scared. Oh, mathematics. But still, you made it very easy and lovable. And philosophy is love for wisdom. Philosophy. That Sophie, philo, will when you split it in English, it means love for wisdom. So mathematics and philosophy means mathematics is love, and what you derive from the mathematics is wisdom. Therefore, all mathematicians are basically good philosophers. And as something like you showed, the zero and infinity, they are two extremes. And our Indian mathematics are there, mathematicians are there. Ramanujam, who is also failed in intermediate for 3-4 times, I don't know, that Hema may be knowing, but he was picked up by an English professor, and he made such a contribution for number theory. Ramanujam is stopped, and we remember. And again, Shankaracharya is stopped 32 years, and Vivekananda is stopped 36 years. So they don't want to continue long when once they did their communication or message to be done, and that life was. And moreover, when you are talking, my mathematics teachers and my mathematics was going on because I forgotten all those things. Still, we cannot escape mathematics. Even I see Anish, your pet student, who is very diligent. He was also appearing. So to say that mathematics is so good, and Nasadiya Sukta is there. Nasadasi Sadasit. And again, if at all you want to account of the mathematics, desires are also mathematical. In the Chamaka Prashna, we have got more than 600 desires. In 20 minutes, you submit before Rudra, and he wants to know. And that too, Senchame, Mayaschame, Priyamchame. So starting from the happiness, Sam is happiness. You said very good. That happiness, you are able to give a formula for happiness. And that formula was always exhibited in railway stations long back. Less luggage, more comfort, make your travel happy. So nowadays they removed it because nobody is bothered about less luggage. So that board was there in every railway station long back. Less luggage, more comfort. But now, but anyway, mathematics is a very important companion for all of us. If you are not following the mathematical way, that was precision and also security and also many features are there. And of course, you just went into Mundaka Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita, and of course, and Gayatri would be able to. So mathematics has got a very expansive stretch. That's what I understand. Plato and Socrates. So these are all Western people, and they turned good mathematicians many times out of disappointments that they got. So they have some expectation, but when expectation failure, they turn philosopher. Plato is a grand example. He loved a girl while in college. She refused ultimately, "You're ugly fellow, I don't want to marry you." Then he turned a philosopher. Like that, I don't know. But anyway, it's a beautiful subject, sir. Today in our Veda Adhyayana Kendra and World Association for Vedic Studies Bangalore chapter, we have introduced the mathematics also as a part of Sanskrit studies. And it's a multidisciplinary subject, highly expansive is Sanskritam. So Sanskritam nama Daivi Vak Anvakhyata Maharshibihi. So it is a divine language. So divine people talk about divine things. Mathematics is a divine subject. And yoga is a divine subject. So even in Vishnu Sahasranamam, Bhishmacharya says, Yogo Gnanam Tatha Sankhyam Silpa. So like that, he gives a list of it. It's a beautiful presentation, sir. We have two good mathematical people, mathematicians, who can also share some ideas with us. So thank you. So mathematics is always brief. You took only 30 and 40, very brief time to present your things and allowing all others also to share good time with mathematics. And Prasad also has made a wonderful comment. And you say you began with the dance, you have seen Bhagyada Lakshmi Baramma, how much mathematical calculation is there. And Mahalakshmi is the very embodiment of all mathematics in the world and all philosophy in the world. Okay, so now I request Dr. Hema. Oh, I don't know much about her. I know only that she's interested in our Sanatana Dharma and music programs. When I went to that only. But now I want to see her, the real mathematicians. Thank you. Welcome. And she's a professor of mathematics, well read, highly loved by her students and in her own field.
Thank you. Thank you very much for letting me know about this wonderful talk. I know Yogesh from before, but I didn't realize this wealth of knowledge that you shared and all about mathematics. I just want to say where all you took me. To begin with, so I heard that you're going to be talking about it. I thought I'll find the part of what is the Vedic mathematics. If you looked up today, it's become current world of India that is somewhat controversial, simply because of other political things that has gotten into it, and it's in a way people haven't quite understood. I'm very happy that you mentioned that it is this combination of mathematics as just like Vedas is the beginning of everything and has the underlying thing. And this is really what one wants to say, and not this simple tricks in quickly doing some computation. And that as people in mathematics would say, probably your teachers too, these computations are not mathematics. When people say do the math, it gets pretty annoying to all your math teachers, because that is not math. That is like, it is really not the essence of it. It is something that you do. It is like jumping up and down is not dance. There is something all together, and a little beauty is in it. It is just not creating sounds in some ordered version, doesn't become music either, right? So we all kind of understand that it is somehow connecting things together, which is really what you brought out too. And it brought me back to my PhD teacher, who is not Indian. But I remember one of the things he said is no more. God gave us, we all believe in God, so that was okay. So God gave us numbers, real line. We human beings made. So in some sense, this sort of brought me back to thinking about it, a lot of, this is it, that's the basics of everything, the whole. He's not talking about just mathematics for the rest of it. When you say the real numbers, the numbers in the real line is a secret infilling, because you just know that's one form of infinity. You brought out the geometry there, the other form of infinity, where those little tiny dots sometimes makes a line and sometimes does not make a line. When you have the space filling curves, it doesn't actually fill the space too. And that geometry also you brought out, and I really appreciated it. I only want to mention this first time in some connection with the ancient Indian mathematics, we had Subhash Kaka. He had invited him a long time ago when he was alive. So he had come and given a talk. At that time, he mentioned Seidenberg, whom we in algebraic geometry already knew him as a famous mathematician. And he had a life. If you look up Seidenberg on math genealogy, you will find he was a professor in Berkeley and had a lot of PhD students. In fact, I just looked up who the PhD students are just last night, and I didn't realize one of them was a colleague with us in Michigan. But anyway, he has a separate thing on just doing the mathematics, ancient. He had a nice paper on origin of mathematics and the origin of geometry, which are easy to read. They are available on JSTOR for free, that one can look it up. And it is really, he's combined talking about how various people during the colonial period has looked up what the mathematics that was there. The basis of that is the Shulba Sutras that you were talking about, you mentioned the geometry and the sutras that are needed for creating, when we do the homam, to do the Agni and the various other, also the architecture part of the creating Garbhagraham and all those other things in the temples. But those are part of the one of the reasons for it. And there is so much of mathematics that is involved, and also little thing adding up this thing that you mentioned about 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8 and goes on to the infinity. All of that, and that it never gets that infinity and that little dot. All of that is he was talking about that, and that's also very part of the origin of geometry, trying to show that it had actually been there way before, and how people aren't, somehow there were other reasons why it was difficult to give it an idea about that. I really very much appreciate it, and we could probably talk about it a little more. And it reminded me of my when I was in elementary school, one of our teachers, math teacher, had a thing saying that what it is not for happiness. He had a contentment equation which says that, when you're teaching fractions, trying to explain fraction to people. So contentment is what you have divided by what you want. As soon as what you want is decreasing or becomes zero, then you're always contented. It doesn't really matter how much you have after that. And that is really the same kind of understanding using that. One was sort of, he was trying to see that how fraction, this was is actually part of something that you can talk about, that I'm not so sure how many children really understood, but I remember that. And then I just was thinking about it when you mentioned your beautiful equation expounding Gita, saying that if you have zero attachment, which is what your ego is, and then you don't have to worry about how much you possess and what the worry is. You are how much the merit, how much the papam is. So do everything, Arjuna, which is good, as long as you don't have attachment, which is really your equation that you mentioned. Thank you very much. And I look forward to hearing from other people in the. I want you to know that there is no superior mathematics person or the person, because you've already known in the infinite. Compared to that, minor differences that people have is nothing. So when you are thinking about that Atman, the bird that is watching, then we are all any differences in any little thing that we all know is fades, is negligible compared to that. And so thank you.
So thank you, Dr. Hema Srinivasan, to have made mentioned the Sulba Sutras, the trigonometry, and
Yes.
also Grukshya Sutras, domestic, and
Mhm.
also the Srauta Sutras. The sutras themselves are Alpaksharam Asandigdham Saravat Vinveshitam Sutram Sutrakrudo Viduhu. So only those mathematicians who made mathematics, they know only mathematics. So that's how Sutram Sutrakrudo Viduhu is that all people can't follow because to expand Sutram and use it is important. So trigonometry is not a nowadays subject, it's a Sulba Sutras, measurement. How much will be the Vedi, how much will be the Samidha. So that's all different one. And therefore, and moreover, now she reminded me basic mathematics, higher mathematics, super mathematics. So the levels are there, but people are all interested, must be aware of the basic mathematics, counting. Otherwise, they will have they will not have any happiness at all. But higher mathematics makes us little fear. Oh, higher. So, and again, in high school itself, they used to make it general mathematics and composite mathematics. Probably Hema must be aware. I was a composite mathematics student where there is this syllabus is a little different. So this way, we have beautiful. So mathematics is a life engaging subject. And right from cradle to grave, we have to go with that. And moreover, in Sanskrit also, we have got a lot of mathematics. And Dr. Gayatri, Y.S. Gayatri, she told me, sir, don't disturb me until June, July, because I'm preparing my DLit thesis in Vedic mathematics. My God, but anyway, because it's mathematics, she can relax. Therefore, I asked her, please join to make some Sanskrit mathematics to us, because that Bharati Krishna Tirtha has helped how best. In fact, there are books also on Vedic mathematics. One of that I showed to Yogesh also. He got fascinated. I know only one book is there on Vedic mathematics, but he found from Amazon 3 volumes of it. It was news to me. So anyway, I request Dr. Gayatri to make some observations. Thank you.
Yes. Namah Sabhayai Sabhapatibhyascha. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Yogesh, sir, for wonderful talk. To begin with, I'll start with Bhagavad Gita. Let me start with Bhagavad Gita only. Mukta Sango Naham Vadi Dhrutyutsaha Samanvitaha Siddhya Siddhyor Nirvikaraha Karta Satvika Uchyate. So, this may be the definition for a best human being or a best mathematician or a best manager, whatever it may be. So, Mukta Sangaha, he should be detached, no attachments. Anaham Vadi, he should not be egotic. So, in the equation, we have seen about egoism. Mukta Sango Naham Vadi, Dhrutyutsaha Samanvitaha, Dhruti, the determination should be there. Utsaha, interesting should be there. Siddhya Siddhyor Nirvikaraha. And he should take success and failures equally. So, this is the equation for a best human being. And also, our scriptures say the importance of mathematics, that is in Vedanga Jyotisha says, Yatha Shikha Mayuranam Naganam Manayo Yatha Tadvat Vedanga Shastranam Ganitam Murdhani Sthitam. So mathematics is the on the top of all other subjects in this branches of knowledge, like crest on the peacock, or the like a gem on the hood of a serpent. But without mathematics, nothing can be done. So it is beyond time and world or anything. Anadi Ananta. So as we says, see, Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter explains beautifully how one becomes many from zero to infinity. So urdhva moolamadha shakham ashvatham prahuravyayam. Yes, let us not go to that now. And there are many things as so this is a small book composed by me about Indian mathematics to create awareness among this thing, common people. So from I have mathematicians from Vedic age to 20th century AD. And this is another small introductory book about science and technology in ancient India. And this is co-authored with Dr. M.K. Sridhar from National College, whom Dr. C.L. Prabhakar knows very well. So we have many concepts of mathematics and origin of it in Rig Veda. For example, as Dr. Prabhakar said, it is a number system or it may be numbers. So Parardha, 10 to the power of 12 is the highest number given at the time of Rig Veda. So the Al-Biruni prizes Indians for that. He says in his book Al-Biruni's India, saying that in all the other countries, the highest number was only 1000, but we have to appreciate Indians because they could count up to 10 to the power of 12. So it is the highest number counted in the remote past of Rigvedic age. And then when we come to Yajurveda, Taittiriya Samhita, the highest number we get is 10 to the power of 19. It is called as Loka. Lokam as 10 to the power of 19. And in Ramayanam, we get a centimal scale. That is in Yuddhakanda, Rakshasa gives the number of army, that is number of monkeys in the army of Rama in a centimal scale, and it's, in a lakh scale, and it starts with 10 to the power of 64, 10 to the power of 64 plus 10 to the power of 69, and it goes on. And many mathematicians say that it represents a astronomical unit. It might represent an astronomical unit because such a huge number. And they give the sum of that number also. And also in Veda, we have numbers, that is Medhatiti gives numbers from 1 to 7, and Dirghatamas gives 8, 9 and 10. And also the Mahavedi Pramana, that is the measurements of Mahavedi are given. And also Shatapatha Brahmana gives the construction of the Mahavedi. And also in Rig Veda we have, 1 minute, I will just say. See, for numbers 3, 5 and 7, ihi tisraha paravata, ihi jana ati dhena indra vachakashat utosa mahyamindubihi shadyukto अनुशेषिधत् गोभिर्यवं न चर्कृषत् अतो देवो अवन्तु नो यत्ते विष्णुर्विचक्रमे पृथिव्या सप्तदा धामभिः. These are from Rigveda. One is 122:16 and another is from 8th mandala, and third one is from first mandala, 22nd sukta and 16th mantra. And also 8, 9 and 10. Ashtapadi, Navapadi, Babhuvishi, Sahasrakshara Parame Vyoman, Ete Santi Dashvagnihi, Shetino Ye Sahasrinaha, Ashwaso Ye Tavrishana, Ragudhruvaste Trirnastu Nastu Yamagahi. Here the numbers, please excuse me, 10,000 and 100 are referred, and in next mantra 1,000 and 10,000 and also 40,000 are mentioned. And the 40,000, the word used there are Chatvari Ayuta. Chatvari Ayuta. Ayuta is 10,000 and Chatvari Ayuta is 4 into 10,000. This is from Rigveda 8th mandala, first sukta, and Atharva Veda contains 1 minute. Please excuse me.
So, yeah, very nice. So, in the Ayurveda has got a count. And 1 after 20 zeros is Ayurveda's contribution, Sukla Ayurveda. I don't know how to name these 20 zeros after 1. Anything, any number after zeros, no much. But if you have a number and then put zeros any, so Samudra, Parardha, and these
Yes.
are all various names.
And then they give numbers in multiples of 10, 8 and 80, 9 and 90, 3 and 30, 4 and 40, 5 and 50, 1 and 10, like that. Atharva Veda, 19th Kanda, 47th chapter, and third mantra, third Kanda and 5th mantra is this. Yete ratri nruchakshaso drashtaro navatirnava Ashitissantyashta uto nate sapta saptatihi shashtischa shatcherevati paschat panchasamnai chatvaras chatvarimshat chatrayas trimshat vajiti dvau chadve vimshati cha ratri ekadasha vamaha te bhirno adyapayu bhirna pahi duhitar divaha. So these are the numbers given in Atharva Veda, 19th Kanda, and there are many instances of numbers and also the equations. See, we have equations in Mahavedi, that is 7x squared plus half m is given is equal to 7x squared plus half x is equal to 7 plus half x plus m. So that is given in Shulba Sutras, and also the square root of 2 and 3 are perfectly derived from Shulba Sutras, and also the conic sections. See, in that is Bharata Muni's Natya Shastra, you have a beautiful mathematical this thing, and any position of dance is mathematical. It is trigonometrical, or it is either it is a parabola or an ellipse or a circle or a straight line or a square or whatever it may be. And also the construction of the stage is very beautifully described there, and it is full of mathematics. And so mathematics is a subject which is pervaded everywhere, and also without which no world can exist or no man can exist. And also there are many things which we have to know. And see, Aryabhata gives the different methods of deriving square roots and cube roots. So I don't know in Western system, but in Indian system, we don't have the method to derive a cube root. But Aryabhata in 5th century, he has given the method to find the cube root of any large number you want. And also the simpler method of square root. Now we are doing the method in division method only. The same division method is simplified there in Aryabhatiyam. And also we have the trigonometric functions, a table from 3 degree, 45 degrees to 90 degrees, Aryabhata, Varaha Mihira, and modern. And almost all are the same. If it is changed, only 0.0001 is the change. So the accuracy of their calculation, we have to accept, and we have to inculcate the accuracy of our ancient system. We don't know how did they come to, and even also the it may be the value of pi, or it may be the solution of indeterminate equation nx squared plus 1 is equal to y squared, that Bhaskaracharya has given prior 500 years prior to our Western mathematicians. 61x squared plus 1 is equal to y squared. And these are all, and also solving equations with many variables, simultaneous equations with many variables. These are all very, very, very interesting, and we will get lost in them. We will forget ourselves when we do that. See, I am working on that is the topic for my the postdoc thesis is equations in Indian mathematics. So how many types of equations are there? And then just from one of my cousins is also a maths teacher. She's teaching maths from 35 years in a school here. So I just gave her a problem, not simultaneous equation. This is a quadratic equation from Sridhara, that is Patiganita from 7th century. And she took one day to solve this. And then I gave her the tips, and then she said, when it was advanced that much in 7th century, why not in 21st century? Because we are not aware of our own contributions. So my humble request and my this thing, that is my motto, is to go to the people, youngsters, in their own way, and let them bring back to our roots, because our roots have many solutions to all the problems that are existing today. 3 or 4 days back, I had a webinar on this thing, Indian knowledge system, that is contribution of science and technology to ancient India. So one people asked me, so is there a solution for all the modern problems in ancient system? Yes, it is there. First, we have to know that. We have to go into that. We have to experience it. And through our experience, we have to make our youngsters also to know that and to follow it. Just as the children follow their parents, we have to make our next generation to follow us, not through fashions, not through any other materialistic things. Only thing is internal journey. See, whatever the as Professor Yogesh already said, we want peace, we want bliss, we want knowledge. We have to acquire knowledge. So why do we acquire knowledge? Not to show off, or not to make yes, material benefits are necessary to some extent, but material benefits are not the ultimate of life. So what is the ultimate that we have to achieve in life is, I have shared in many stages that India is the only country which has given the aim of life, that is the self-reliance or Atmajnana. So how to go to that? Through yoga, Ashtanga yoga. So we all know what is Ashtanga yoga. We see Shiva, we have seen the posture of Shiva. So I shall end my talk with this. I love this shloka very much. So I will share this in every talk. Paryanka granthi bandha dvigunita bhujaga ashklesha samvita janoho antah prana varodha vyuparata sakala jnana ruddhendriyasya atmanyatmanameva vyapagata karanam pashyatastattva shambhorvah patu shunye kshana ghatitalaya brahmalagna samadhihi. So we have seen the posture of Shiva sitting in Padmasana. His eyes are open, not seeing any sight of world. His ears are open, not hearing any materialistic sound. His nostrils are open, not sensing any worldly smells. Then what is he doing? Antah prana varodha. So as Dr. Yogesh said, yoga is the means for internal journey. So there are 3 kinds of respiration. One is Puraka, another is Kumbhaka, and another is Rechaka. Puraka is the air that we inhale, and Kumbhaka is the breath or vital energy that we withhold, and Rechaka is that we exhale. So he is in the Kumbhaka state. He has withhold his breath. And what is he doing? Atmanyatmanameva vyapagata karanam pashyatastattva drishtya. He is seeing himself in himself. I repeat, he is seeing himself in himself. So may that sight of Lord Shiva can protect all of us, says the poet. Yes, so we have to reach that stage. So Shiva Mahimna Stotra says, Rujukutila Nana Pathajusham Runam Eko Gamyas Twamasi Payasa Marnava Iva. So you are the only one to be reached. Many, all the rivers go and reach ocean from all the directions. So all the people, for all the people, you are the only person to be concentrated, or only the matter to be focused. For many people, they may come through any way. It may be through mathematical way, it may be through dance way, it may be through musical way. Ruju kutila nana pathajusham. Nrunameko gamyas tvamasi payasa marnava iva. So the rivers they flow on mountains, they make a fall. At the what is their ultimate reach? Ultimate reach is the ocean. So all the human beings, what is the ultimate goal of all human beings is to reach you. That is where to see you, seeing yourself in yourself, or ourself in ourself, as Lord Shiva is doing. He is teaching us, and mathematics also says that. So you do not stop. You do not stop until the goal is reached. So what is our goal? Our goal is to see ourselves in ourselves. Because see, what are the, as Dr. Prabhakar said, many mathematicians and physicists are philosophers. Okay. And even Adi Shankara's philosophy is compared with quantum physics. We all know that. And also the Nobel awardee of 2-3 years ago was awarded for his work on Maya, again, which is the philosophy of Adi Shankara. And one of my friends by name Dr. Geeta has presented a thesis on matter in Indian philosophy. So whatever the subject may be, whatever the way we reach, our ultimate goal is the only thing, that is we have to reach the ultimate. That is Akhandamandalakaram Vyaktam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So it is the duty of the Guru to show the feet of, that is the omnipresence of God everywhere in that. And how he does by taking away, removing our ajnana and giving us the knowledge, and he makes us acquire knowledge, and through that knowledge we can, that is the prerequisite, knowledge is the prerequisite to go on the path of knowledge again. So thank you all for giving me this opportunity and sharing my few words. And just I will want to give a concluding remark about the contribution of India to mathematics. India is the birthplace of zero and decimal system. Many aspects of the various branches of mathematics, such as modern arithmetic and algebra, advanced geometry and trigonometry, flourished in this land. When we think that these concepts were achieved at that point of time, when the instruments were not there, or a few in number, automatically we bow our heads to those marvelous achievers respectfully. So I bow my humble pranams to all the marvelous achievers. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you again.
Oh, thank you, madam. Excellent
Ah,
remarks, and we're very, very happy to hear lot more excellent information to top of what Yogesh ji and Dr. Hema Srinivasan has provided us. And so I'll conclude with the Shanti Mantram and
Just 1 minute, just to say, because to Gayatri, if we allow her, she comes on. Actually, people are very crisp and limited in mathematics. But when mathematics becomes our subject of talk, real mathematicians cannot stop because that's the precision for them. So it is linked up one by one, one after one on. And Yogesh, of course, he has controlled all his emotions and knowledge put forth in that. But if you allow more time to him, because other mathematicians are there, he wanted to allow that time. And finally, that Lord Rudra is a great mathematician and is a great supporter. And so Bhattabhana in Harshacharitam gives a beautiful sloka telling that what is mathematics extent. Namastunga Siraschumbi Chandra Chamara Charave Trailokya Nagararambha Moolastambhaya Shambhave. That Moolastambha to build the Trailokya Nagara for the architectural grandeur building, who will be, what height it required, that Moolastambha, the central pillar. So that calculation, nobody can do it, all failure. That's why even Brahma lost his head because he said he has gone to the highest pinnacle. So anyway, so really very happy. Today is a mathematics day. In America, people have got a day devoted, Black Day, Black Friday, or this Friday, Father's Day, Mother's Day. So today we declare this as the Mathematics Day. Beautiful. We have a wonderful knowledge and reversion and review. Thank you very much. And we should thank Prasad also. He just spared his time, though he's not in Colombia, but he's on vacation. Today, this is a very wonderful time for all people here. They say that labor weekend, I don't know what is that longer weekend that they have got. So they're all on travel, but still Prasad is able to make this program successful. So thanking all. So now Prasad conclude. Om.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Krishnarpanamastu, Shri Veda Purusha Ashirvadostu. Om Tat Sat.